don't want to get out of bed. I made a mistake of going to bed. That was the problem. If I'd stayed up, I probably would have been all right. Then you wake up, you go, oh, and I'm still cold under a duvet, and it's like. Tell me if it goes. I was like, well, I'm cold all the time anyway. But when I'm sitting there, like, TV was as well.
Yeah, Joe said you just didn't look right. Did you manage to get out on Saturday?
Yeah. Once I woke up in the morning, I was feeling fine.
Can't complain. No, I'm okay.
We just sat in the pub and I think I made a tenner. It's like we all gave Glenn 15 quid. And we put like bets on things like 5 horses at random. I think we all made like a tenner.
I don't know. I'm waiting for the draw. We draw the game or we start with the game. You know what I would like.
That is true, but a bit lucky, yeah.
Okay, guys, just to remind you, so we're playing the final 7, which is the final table. Okay, just remember, as it's an APAT side event, we do allow deals to be made, okay? But we must get an official finishing position. Somebody must come first, second, third, fourth, okay? Whether that's agreed on tip counts or whatever, okay?
Yeah, I'm happy for it.
Great job.
Are you drawing the game or you restart deuce 7?
Restart deuce 7.
World is perfect.
And this is where the button is.
This is the button, miss. Yeah, well done. Welcome to the table.
And
Join for the button,
So we're still level 22, right?
13,
Yeah.
29.
Still level 20.
So 13.25 for the blinds.
And we got 7 minutes left on the clock.
We are a limited table, so there are microphones, so just be aware that Wednesday will be on YouTube for the rest of
Real life.
Be careful.
No pressure.
Hi, Mum.
She heard it.
There's no whole card shown or anything like that, but it is live within about 30 seconds. Literally straight up now. So you can get it on apat.com/live or go onto the Facebook group to find out there.
Very professional. Thank you, sir.
Well done, everyone, and good luck.
Okay.
Here we go. Yep.
Good luck, all.
Good luck.
Especially those short snacks like me.
And me. Yeah, table centre seems to be leaning that way.
So, a warm welcome back to Coventry. We're down to our final 7 players in our 8-game championship. In seat 1 is Stephen Morris with 305,000. Seat 2 is Ross Aitken with 220,000. In seat 3 is Paul Davis with 225,000. Seat 4 is Vince Ely with 230,000. In seat 5 is Gabor Gileri with 610,000. Ben Ohana is in seat 6 with 655,000, and our chip leader, Rezun Sadiq, with 820,000 in seat 7.
He's a wizard.
These guys are all guaranteed £220 for a 7th place finish. Then it goes 270, 360, 490. Then our top 3 finishers, 3rd place will get £710, 2nd place will get 1,070. And 1st place will take home £1,605 for their efforts over the past 2 days.
I lost a lot to do 7 and Raz.
So with a redraw for the final table, we're back playing our first game on the list, which is Deuce 7 triple draw. The guys will play 7 hands of each variant as we work our way through the list of the 8 games, hence the reason why it's called the 8 game, opposed to one guy I think who thought it was 8 max. He got a shock when he sat down and started playing yesterday. So the games the guys are going to play, they say it's Deuce 7 triple draw first, then it's limit hold'em, then it's limit high-low Raz, then it's Omaha, then it's limit Raz, limit stud, stud high-low, and then we get the 2 non-limit games, no limit hold'em, and then pot limit Omaha. Got a nice rail join us. I can see Dan Austin over the far side. Good evening, Dan. Ben Bernals there, John Murray, Jason Kemp also joining us. Evening, Dan. How are? Oh, it's Vince. He's making his final table appearance. Yes, don't get Dan confused with Vince. Easily done.
Vince is railing down.
Vince is railing Dan. Yeah. Vince is railing Dan. So Paulie draws one card here.
Bet.
And Stephen bets out 50,000, and Paulie's going to fold. Slams his hand down, and Stephen Morris is going to take down the first hand of this final table. Very nice pot. I'll try and keep the best up to date as I can with the hands as we go on this, but not seeing cards, it's quite difficult to then explain what's going on. But I'll let you know what players are drawing and what the bets are, and roughly where we are with the pot without giving too much information away, because we're quite close to the players here, so we don't want to give too much away.
I was going to play that hand, and when those two went before, I thought, I'm getting out of here. Everyone's got my out.
So it's Gabber on the button this time, so Ben in the... Action is round on Stephen, he folds. Round we go, Ross folds. Paulie calls.
How much you have behind?
Vince gets it the way. Gabble's just asked how much Paulie's got, just to get an idea what to do. And he's in as well. No interest from Ben. And Rizwan having another look at his cards, and he says he checks. And he draws 3, Paulie takes 2, and Gabba takes 2.
Check. Bet. Raise.
Which side of these chairs? Which side of the chairs is that? If we sit in these chairs, we can't see the table. We're kind of our back.
This card, guys, please. One card, sir. One card. One card.
John?
Check.
Yes, I hope so. I think they had 100,000 at the play.
Only 100 business for you, John.
Yes, I'm going to carry on with that. Still another draw.
I'm the last action.
There's one draw.
My bad. My bad. Sorry, I'm tired.
The hand stays exposed.
Yeah, it's all right.
I mean, technically, just the 4 has been seen.
It's all right. I already announced
So
my
I'm just
hand.
saying, just saying.
People could have seen it anyway.
And now it stays on YouTube.
No,
It's exposed. It's fine.
the whole thing is exposed. We don't know. So you receive a warning. If it happens again, you'll be receiving a 2-hand penalty, and you can still draw. You lose all aggressive action. You can only call. Or
So
fold
with his hand,
or check.
Gabble's actually exposed his
Any
hand.
drawn cards, you get.
So our TD Richard has just explained what that means to him,
Yeah.
and it means that he can draw if he wants to, and any drawn cards he will stay face down, but the rest of the table can pretty much see his hand, and it's Paulie and
Now there was a bet, and
Rezoon.
now that was exposed, and I have to see that.
I did it again, sorry. I didn't.
That's my bad.
Sorry,
That's my
can I
fault.
see that? It was exposed in the very much same way that's mine. And
Not this one, but those 4 cards are.
These 4 cards are now exposed, guys. You don't receive a warning as you would.
Yeah,
to
that's my
expose your
fault.
card.
every single time.
And Rez has got 7, 6, 5, 3 deuce, and Paulie had an 8 there that I saw. That's not big enough. We're going to lose Paul Davis in 7th place, picking up £220 for his trouble. Very well done to him.
I'm sure you mentioned
Bit of a messy hand, that one, with a couple of players exposing their hand. Gabble was the first one to do it. Gabble was, and actually Paul was just unfortunate that I think the dealer got confused there as to what was going on. The first time I've seen that actually in 2 days. The dealer's been absolutely superb here for the past 2 days, but all a little bit confusing. Maybe it's the pressure of a final table and us streaming, and everyone got a little bit excited. Go with the do7 triple draw. Dealer keeps track of how many hands, got little counters, moves one from the left to the right. Once all 7 get moved across, then we change the variant. So these guys now all guaranteed £270 with 6 players left. For those that missed it, we had this event capped at 56 runners. We were sold out in advance, and we managed to get 7 alternates in the first 8 levels. Yesterday, the players started with 50,000 starting stack on a 30-minute clock. And we're currently playing level 23.
Check. This copy. 1.
So Resin takes 2, and Stephen takes 1, and it was 2 from Vince.
Bet.
No, we're giving to you.
And Vince bets. £50,000. And Resin calls.
1.
As does Stephen. It's 1 each for Resin and Stephen, and Vince takes none. And it's 765 for 2 for Stephen, and the other 2 muck, and that's good enough. That's good enough hand. You're looking for the best
15,
low
30 guys.
hand here, deuce to 7. On we go. The 5th hand of this round.
No, you're okay, mate.
Well, I'll be there anyway.
Will you? Oh, make us.
Raise.
What am I doing? Like, what am I doing?
Yeah, I'm going
Playing with a balloon.
Carry on.
Basically a cat at this moment.
Yeah, that's right.
So they're currently playing a level of 15,000, 30,000. We raised up by Razin there to 60,000. And he takes that one down. That goes no further. And on we go. So the majority of chips are really in seats 5, 6 and 7. Gabble, Ben and Resin, which are the 3 guys. If you look at the right hand screen, at the top of that right hand screen, they're the ones, that's where all the chips are. 2 million of the
Fred's going to be a call. With 2 chips.
Yeah, but it's more than the half.
No, I know.
There's 2 million, about just over 3 million chips in.
2 chips, same colour. If 1 chip isn't enough for a call, and they're both the same colour, goes as a call at 420.
Yeah, I'm definitely. If we can get the 10, I should get the 10.
Raise.
The old trade.
Discount, guys. Pat, 1. Pat. 1. Okay, guys, shut on, please.
So we've got Ross all in here from seat number 2. One with an 8 low, and yeah, I'm saying all in, but I don't know why it looked like he was counting chips, but I don't think he was counting chips, so I think he was just winning the pot.
Raise.
My bad.
1. 1. Check. Bet.
Raise.
Raise. 60.
My bad.
Sir. Pat. Pat. Bet. So. Sir. Pat. Pat.
Bets.
Bet. Call.
87.
87 what?
875. And there's one more bet inside.
It's 4 minutes.
You again, guys. Same limit. Just 2 cards.
Ooh.
That's quite steep. No ante.
But I can't trade in running on.
That's all I got, mate.
Yeah, I only do the front, which is why the next stream.
Limit hold'em, yeah?
Absolutely. No, I never do. That's why
Raise.
I say only do it.
60, yeah. Same.
And I don't.
How much
Good
you
luck,
have
guys.
Farewell.
Thank you.
You're right, I should have put it. It's in the running order.
Raise. Raise.
Yeah, can I go?
So Vince has raised this up.
Only had 30 behind.
guys are now playing Limit Hold'em. Might be a little more usual game for you guys at home to follow. Exactly the same as the sort of stuff you watch on the TV, except they're limited to the amount that they can bet and raise each street. So the blinds are still 15,000 and 30,000, and it's a raise from Ross down in seat 2. He's raised it up to 60,000. Vince folds, Gabba folds, as does Ben, and he gets through both the blinds as well, and scoops up the chips there. And on we go. So it's Stephen in the small blind, Ross in the big blind this time.
Shall be an announcement. I know,
So
right?
yeah, they've just announced they're going to announce the Goliath first prize in about 15 minutes. But let's be honest, all we're worried about here is the £1,605 up top in the APAT 8 game. That's what these guys are focused on. And for any of you at home that was wondering what that was and hasn't been to a Goliath, just be grateful that you've not been here and had to listen to that every 40 minutes as the levels go up in the main event. For the dealers who've been here all week, he's smiling. Yeah, he knows. he knows what I'm talking about. Yeah. Yeah. The gong's quite regular as well. But, that's yeah. They play that little ditty as the levels go up. Really cheerful. So on we go, guys playing Limit Hold'em, and it's been a raise from Ben here to 60,000. It's been called by Ross in the small blind, and it's now been raised up by Vince in the big blind to 90. Thank you, Gavin. And Ben's made a call.
90. And
Ross is in, so we're going to see a flop. 3 players to the flop. And the flop is 4 of diamonds, 10 of hearts, king of diamonds. It's a check from Ross, and Vince says I'm all in. And it's going to be for about 20, maybe 30,000. 30? Vince says 30. It's a call from Ben.
yeah, that's a full bet. Raise.
So Ross says, because that's a bet, can I raise? He says yes, you can. So it's going to be a raise from Ross, and he's going to make it. There we go. He makes it 60,000. And it's fairly quickly called by Ben here. So we've got a big pot building up here. Vince is all in, so Ross and Ben are going to start building a side pot. We're going to see a 4th card in the middle. It's a 7 of diamonds on the turn. 4 diamonds, 10 of hearts, king of hearts. It's a bet out from Ross, and it's a straight quick fold from Ben. It's pocket 4s for Ross, and it's ace jack with a jack of diamonds. So Vince is going to need a queen or a diamond. And the 6 of clubs on the river means we're going to lose Vince in 6th place. He's going to pick up £270. It means the remaining 5 players now are all guaranteed a minimum cash of 360.
Thanks. What's that? Oh no, it wasn't there.
And Ross in the top of your screen on the left hand side is stacking chips. Got away from that hand pretty quick on the turn after the bet out from Ross. No dwelling there. That was straight in the muck. So it's Ben to out first, and he raises it to 60,000.
Re-raise.
And up we go from Stephen in seat 1. And Ben makes a call. So it's about 200,000 in the pot now already, and we're going to see a flop 2 players, and it's the Ace of Hearts, King of Diamonds, Deuce of Spades.
He's normally right.
And Stephen takes that one down. So 5 players left.
Raise.
Back to trolling.
Okay, guys, same limit. Omar 8.
So change of variant. After 7 hands of Limit Hold'em, we're now going to play 7 hands of Limit Omaha 8. Oh. Hold on to your hats, folks. It's about to get scary. So blinds stay at 15,000 and 30,000. And Stephen first to act, he folds. Ross raises to 60,000. Gabba folds. Just the blinds then. Ben first in the small blind. And he calls. And Rosun gets out of the way from the big blind. So it's 2 players. They're going to see the flop. And it's King of Diamonds, Ace of Diamonds, 4 of Spades. Check from Ben. Ross is reaching for chips. Ross bets 30,000. And Ben's going to call. 8 of Diamonds on the turn. And it's going to be another check call from Ben by the looks of it. 60,000 was the bet from Ross after Ben's check, and he makes the call. So the river card is the Queen of Spades.
Check.
And it's a 3rd check from Ben. And Ross checks at this time, so we're going to get a showdown.
Yeah, you have the low, right? You have the high.
So the high hand was 2 pair, aces and 8s for Ben. And it was the 5-6 playing for Ross for the low hand. So they chop it up. With the high hand picking up the extra 1,000 in the change. That effectively makes Ben the winner of that hand. Yeah, he's nodding. He agrees. Yeah, he feels a winner. He feels a winner. So on we go. So as you saw with that hand, the guy's playing is Limit Omaha 8. So there's a high hand and a low hand available for the players to win. And we're just going to be blind on blind here with Resun and Stephen, and the board is 2 of clubs, 6 of clubs, 2 of spades. Better from Resun, and it's very quickly called by Stephen. Another 6 on the turn, so 2 sixes, 2 deuces out there now on the board. And Resun bets again, 60,000 this time. And it's a fold from Stephen this time, and our chip leader adds to his stack.
I'm afraid you're going to have to wait a little bit for this one. Very too long.
So Stephen in the small blind and Ross in the big this time, which means it's Gabba to act first. He folds, as does Ben. Resun in the on the button this time. And he makes it 60,000. And both the blinds fold. So Resun will add the blinds to his stack quite happily. As I say, so 5 players left. These guys are all guaranteed 360. Then it goes 490, 710, 1,070, and then top prize is £1,605. So raise from Stephen's been called by both the blinds this time. So 3 players are going to see a flop of 4 of spades, 9 of spades, 8 of clubs. Check from Ross in the small blind, and it's a bet of 30,000 by Gabba. Stephen folds. Ross, it looks like he's going to call, and he does. Ross makes the call, so 2 players are going to see the turn. It's this 5 of diamonds. So we're 4, 9, 8, 5 now, 2 spades. Check from Ross is check back this time. So both players will see the King of Hearts on the river. 60,000 is the check raise from Ross, called by Gabor, and let me see what we've got going on there. There's a set of 5s against a set of kings, so the set of kings wins the high. There was no low
The way you check your
hand,
cards, make sure you can see
no
them.
low hand out.
Sometimes it's a little bit towards them.
So Gabor adds to his stack. As I say, the chips are very much down the one end of the table here in seats 5, 6 and 7. That's for sure. So it's Gabba's small blind this time, and it is Ben in the big blind. So Ross and Ben have seen a flop of King 6-4. bet out by Ross, 30,000 has been called, check called by Ben, so they both see a jack on the turn, bringing 2 diamonds. Another check from Ben. This is seeming very similar to a hand about three or four hands ago with these two players. So check from Ben, and this time it's a bet of 60,000 by Ross. Ben's just counting up his stack. You can see Ben at the top of the right-hand screen, and he's reached for that's raising up chips definitely. He raises to 120,000. So the board is King 6 4 Jack with 2 diamonds, King of Diamonds and the Jack of Diamonds. Big decision for Ross now. Ross is the top of your screen on the left-hand screen in the check shirt. Ben's playing about another, maybe about, it's got about 160,000 behind. And Ross declares raise. And Ben says 240 total, and Ross is called the 240. He's got a few chips back behind now, Ross. So they both put 240 in each, and I'm trying to see what Ross has got left behind there now. Ross has got about 35, 45, about 50, maybe 60k behind. It's a 7 of spades on the and I think Ben's effect is, yeah, all the chips are going in. Ben's got pocket aces with a 7 and a deuce, and it's pocket jacks with a 9 and a 7, so it's a set of jacks for Ross, and the ace deuce plays for the low hand, so they're going to chop it up after all of that. Yeah, the dealer looks devastated, and we chop it up. Really, that was it was the, I guess it was the gamble for Ben. He really needed a low card there for a low hand to actually play, and that's what the river gave him. Thinking obviously that his pocket aces would be good for a high hand, and he was drawing to the nut low. Oh, and a flush. Was there a flush there as well, Ben? Was there? Yeah, Ben said there was a flush. Yeah. I wouldn't want to do you down, mate. So if there was a flush there as well, there's a flush there as well. Yeah. For all the Ben fans at home, he was flush drawing as well. So trying to commentate on these games sometimes, trying to keep up with everything it's actually out there. So bear with me, guys. Bear with me. The players will put me right if I ever say anything wrong, I'm sure. I hope they would anyway. So it's Ben raising to 60,000 from the small blind, and our big blind gets out of the way. So he adds a few chips to his stack. So raise from Ben on the button this time to 60,000. Raising gets out of the way in the small blind, but Stephen's going to come along from the big blind in seat 1, and the two of them are going to see a flop of 10 of diamonds, 7 of hearts, ace of diamonds. Stephen checks, and Ben bets out 30,000, and Stephen makes the call. Turn card is the jack of diamonds. That's 3 diamonds on the board now. And it goes check, check this time. So they're both going to see the deuce of hearts, which brings the low hand into play now as well. Check from Stephen, check from Ben. And Ben's made a low with 2 pair. 10 and deuces for the high, and he's made a low with his 7 and the 4. And it's good enough to win both hands.
Level 24. So 7,000, 8,000, 35.
So that was the
35 and 70 depends.
78 bringing and 35,000.
so that was the 7th hand of Omaha 8. So we're moving to the fun of Raz. You thought Omaha 8 was exciting? Well, this is it. This is as good as it gets. I'm not even going to try and work out what the limits, what we're currently playing here with Raz. I'll work it out as we go, right, as to where we're at. We're all about bringing. So high card is the bring-in here, and the bring-in is 8,000. Raise from Ross to 35,000 and takes that down. Or maybe that's not 8. So it's 7,000 ante from all players.
Like triple for earlier, I was getting boats and shit. It's like ridiculous.
So high card is the bring in here, and it's Gabble this time. And Stephen's going to raise it up, and that'll be enough to take it down. So antes are 7,000. So ante 7, bring in 1734. Stephen takes that one down, and that was the so with Raz, ace counts as low. So our chip leader brings in, and it's Ross taking this one down. Ace deuce 3 of spades. I presume that's not a bad starting hand. Good as it gets, as Jim RTD says, quite right. So that bet from Gabor is enough, and he's going to take down this one. And I think we've got.
It's a genuine hand, but even if it's not genuine, you have to fold.
That was our last Raz hand. So next up, we're going to play stud. 7 card stud.
Switching to stud, guys, so don't be mistaken.
I will be.
Once again, you understand on the bring-in.
You've just gone from playing a game where you're looking to get the worst possible hand, and you're now playing a game where you're trying to get the best. With exactly the same format, so it's the same same antes, and it's this time it's the low card is the bring in. Ace is a high, so it's Ben who's brought in here for 8, and our chip leader Razin's made the bet of 34. Round we go to Gabba, who's got an ace. Doesn't like the other 2 cards, so he folds. And that's the end of that one.
Seven bring in.
That's like 4, isn't it? 7, the bring-in. Ante 7.
Sorry, ante 7 and bring in 8.
So, Gabor first this time with the 7 as the low card. And this time Stevens made the bet 34 and Gabor makes the call. So it's going to be 2 players. Stevens showing now the 9 of clubs and the Jack of spades, and Gabor's showing the Ace of diamonds and the 7 of hearts. Gabor's made a bet of 34, it'll be, and it's a raise from Stephen, and Gabor says I call. 70,000 was the total bet there, and it's a deuce for Stephen, and it's a 9 for Gabor. It's a check from Gabor, and Stephen's made a bet. He's showing the 9 Jack deuce, and Gabor says I raise, showing 7 ace 9. I've got a feeling the chips are all going to end up in the middle here. Can't see how they're not going to this far down the streets.
140 total.
140 is the total. Gabor's just counting those out. So we're going to see another card each. But with what Stephen's got left, Stephen gets a king, Gabor gets a 3. Gabor says I'm in, and Stephen says I'm all in. Stephen chose queen, he's got queen 10 and has made his straight now. Gabor's got ace 7, so he's got 2 pair aces and 7s. Last card to come, he's going to need it to be an ace or a 7. And it's a king, which means Stephen's going to get a double up.
Okay, I was lucky on earlier hands. Good hand.
So full double up for Stephen.
Shout out to my friend Charlie, who has no idea what's going on.
So Ben just asked me to say hello to Charlie, who's watching it. Hasn't got a clue what's going on. Does he play poker, Ben?
Yeah, he just has no idea what these games are.
So Charlie plays poker. Charlie, I join you in that club of not really understanding what's going on, but I'm just talking about it as best I can. But hope you're enjoying it anyway, Charlie. I'm assuming, yeah, been railing Ben, I'd imagine, for 2 days probably, keeping an eye on what's going on.
Queen Jack then 9, you meant.
He's just waiting for Hold'em and PLO.
Yeah. As we all are, to be perfectly honest. Yeah, as we all are. My commentary goes up quite considerably during those 2 games. Because that's what I'm all used to talking about. All I can say is for the guys that have played this, well, the feedback's been great. All the players seem to have loved it. Been hugely grateful for the amazing dealers that we've had the past 2 days here dealing the 8 game. They've been absolutely superb. As have all the staff here. Because bear in mind, all the staff here have also been dealing with about 6,500 people playing Goliath this week as well. So it's been superb so far, with a couple more days to come. So Stephen and Ross at it this time. And 35,000 is enough for Ross to take that one down. I think they're bringing back probably somewhere between 800 and 900 back for Goliath day 2 tomorrow, I'm guessing, once they finish this. I think it'll be, Jim's giving me a nod, it's going to be about that number. They'll whittle that down enough for us to start our main event tomorrow at 4 o'clock. So we've got that capped at 250 runners. You can buy in at the venue from midday tomorrow. Those of you lucky enough to have, or sensible enough to have bought in online in advance, you just need to turn up at the start time and your name will be on the seat draw. 140 seats, Tom's just telling me, are going on sale at midday tomorrow. And if you want one of those and you're not in the Goliath tomorrow, trust me, get here at midday, because what is going to happen is as people bust the Goliath, they will be heading to the registration desk to see if they can get into the APAT event that starts at 4. So if you're not playing the Goliath day 2 and do want to play the APAT, I really recommend being here probably before midday to make sure you're in the queue ready to grab a seat. 140 of them go on sale at midday tomorrow. We're expecting it to sell out with an alternate list. So other events this weekend. If you're not lucky enough to be in the Goliath Day 2, there's a high roller that starts tomorrow evening as well. That's a 2-day event. That concludes on the Sunday. Then on the Sunday itself, we've got the Goliath final day, the high roller final day, our main event final day. We're running a pot limit Omaha side event as well. And then there's a deep and steep final tournament of the week, which starts, I think, about around 2 o'clock, I think it is, on Sunday. 2 o'clock on Sunday. That's the last one of the week. So if you've not had a chance to get to the Rico for the week, why not pop over on Sunday, watch all the final tables, and play a little bit of poker over in a day. So Ross is showing here 5, 7, 6, 9. Rez has got 8, 3, ace, 4. And they're getting dealt their last card each. It's a check from Rez, and it's a bet from Ross. Just counting it out. And he's going to make the call. So he's made the straight 5 to the 9, and that's good enough. Ross can take that down. And that was hand number 5, I think. 5 of 7. Two more of these to go. So we got 3 players in this hand. Rez bets out 35,000. Stephen's going to make the call. So Rez is showing King 10, Stephen's showing Jack 7, and Deuce 3. Ross is showing second 10 for Rez, so he's going to be first to act with the 2 10s showing. Stephen gets out of the way. Ross got dealt a 5 there to go with his deuce and his 3, but he doesn't seem to be going anywhere. No, he's made the call. 70,000 was the bet. He's made the call. Rez gets an ace to go with his king and his 10s and bet 70,000. Ross has been dealt another 5 to go with his deuce and 3 that he started with. So he's now showing 2 5s and a deuce and a 3. And he's made the call. So their last card face down. And this time it's a check. And Ross says I bet, and he bets 75. And it's been called. And Ross shows 6-4 with his first two cards, so hit the straight with his first 5 cards, and that's enough, and he's going to take down another huge pot. Massive swings on this table now. Our chip leader is no longer our chip leader. That's going to make Ross our chip leader. One more to go of this variant. So, Rezuin and Gabor are going to be in the other hand. Rezuin showing 3-5 and Gabor's showing 8-9 of hearts. And Gabor's bet out and gets a call. So on we go. It's a jack for Gabor, but it's a king for Rez, which means Rez is going to take the lead in this now. They both checked it anyway. And Queen of Hearts for Gabor brings the third heart up, so he's now got 8-9 Jack Queen. It's an 8 for Reza, but they're both checking this as well. So here comes their last card. So they get dealt 2 cards face down, then 4 face up, and then the last card face down. And Gabor shows Queen, so he's got a pair of queens, and it's 2 pairs, 8s and 3s for Rezu. So take it easy, buddy. Yeah. So he's going to take that one down, and that's the last one.
Okay, we're switching to stud 8. Same limits.
So we move to stud 8. And genuinely, Lucy looked disgusted that we were moving to stud 8. Lucy genuinely looked disgusted that we were about to play a round of stud 8. It was just, yes. The Stevens deuce is the low card, so he's therefore bringing in. And Gabor folds a king. Ben makes it 35. Gets called by Rezuin, and Stephen gets out of the way. So Ben's now showing 6 and a 7. As bet out of turn because there's a jack and a 6 showing from Rezuin, so but he makes the bet anyway, so it would have been a call from Ben. So it's still Rezuin to act first. So Rezuin showing jack 6 3, Ben showing 10 7 6. And it's a bet, and going to be a raise from Ben, or call from Ben. No, it's a call from Ben. So Rezuin gets dealt a second jack, so he's got a pair of jacks, 6 and a 3. And Ben is now showing an ace 10 7 6. Another bet from Rezuin. which gets called by Ben very quickly. Dealer keeps these stacks separate because quite often this can be split pots, so it makes it easy just not to add it all into the pot and just keep them separate. So they've finally dealt their final card face down, and it's a bet from Reswin which gets called by Ben. And Reswin shows he's got the ace deuce as his starting cards. And it's just a pair of sixes for Ben and jacks for Reswin. So jacks are good, and Reswin scoops the lot, and that's going to leave Ben pretty much short stack at the table now. For those following Ben at home, it's not looking good. So on we go. So bringing was Ben this time. Reswin's made it 35, and it's been a raise by Ross, who's showing an ace. Reswin showing a jack. So Ross showing the ace 5, which means he acts first, and he bets out 35,000. Reswin showing jack 6, so ace 5-9 from Ross means he's still first to act, and he bets out 70,000. Going to get fairly quickly called. So they've both got very, very similar hands showing here now. It's ace jack 9-5 for Ross, and it's ace jack 8-6 for Reswin. So it's still Ross to act first, and he bets. And gets called by Reswin. So we're going to go to a final card, face down from both. So it's still Ross to act first, and looks like he's going to reach to bet again, and he does. Another 70,000. They're both showing very, very similar hands. It's all going to be about the hands that they've got face down, but he folds. Reswin folds, and Ross takes another decent stack from Reswin.
They just scheduled a break in here, guys, but because we gave you a break before we start.
Yeah, that's fine. You skip the break, yeah, by all means. Everybody happy?
Next level, maybe a break to cheap raise the thousands.
Yeah.
Well, let me get knocked out first.
Yeah, just One more level. We need the 1,000 for one more level. Shall I carry on or wait the clock to stop?
Yeah, go on, pick it up.
Yep.
If they get an extra minute, 25 for a bit.
Level up. We're now playing level 25. Bring.
Previous level, guys. I shuffled the deck before, so. Complete. Oh.
So, Gabba with the bring in, and Ben's raised it up with showing a queen, which has been called by Gabba showing an 8, called by Ross showing a 5, and Gabba's made a call as well showing a deuce. So we're going to be four-handed.
Fives.
And it's Ross showing a pair of 5s. Acts first, and he bets out. Gabba folds. Ben is showing queen 3 of clubs, and he raises it up. Razif folds. Ben's got a tiny bit behind. Ross says he raised. Ben says a call, so Ben's showing ace 4, queen 3. Ross is showing a pair of 5s with a 4 and a 6. It's going to be Ben's tournament life at risk. It's another 6 for Ross. Puts him in a strong position. There's 4 clubs out there now for Ben. And the low is there. So they split it up. Ross takes the high, Ben takes the low. Ben lives to fight another day. For all you Ben fans out there. So who's the other one then?
Well, you posted it on the group page. Surely someone's got to be watching.
Really? Yeah. Okay. If we gave a shout out to one of them, I just feel bad now for the other one. If there's two of them, Ben, I feel bad that we've Yeah, I feel really bad. We've shouted out for one of your fans. Yeah.
How much is the bring in?
So now we are level 25, which is 8 anti, 10 complete, bring in, and 40 complete.
I don't want to offend them. That's all. That's what I'm thinking. Yeah.
That's all right.
Yeah. Next thing they don't renew their fan club membership, and this. Where does it end? Yeah, they won't. Yeah. Yeah. Ben will next be available. Yeah. You can next see Ben live. Yeah, the book side. Yeah. He's doing a meet and greet. Yeah. So it's the deuce for Ross, so he brings in, and 10 is the bring in now. And bet from Gabble takes that down. Easy game. Yeah, thumbs up from him. That's what it's all about. Keep stacking those chips. So we're still playing stud 8 for 2 more hands, I think. So Razu 6 means he's the bring in, which is now 10. It's now 10, isn't it? I think. Or is it not? Maybe it's not 10 then. Maybe it was 8. So it's a raise from Gabba with the ace showing, and it's been called by Resin, and without needing to do much more, our thumbs up man is stacking more chips. So ante's at 8,000 now. And with a deuce, it's Rez that's going to be bringing in for 10,000. I thought it was 10. So the king means Stephen's first to act here, and he bets out 50,000 to 40,000. And our chip leader Ross is going to come along for the ride, showing Queen 6 of hearts. And has now hit a pair of queens, so he says I bet. 80,000 is the bet. Stephen's showing 10 King 7, 2 hearts. Decision on him in seat 1. He's counted them out and makes the call. So Ross gets an ace, and it's a 3 for Stephen. Ross bets out again. This time Stephen's going to let it go. And that was the last hand of stud 8.
Okay guys, bad news.
So, for the first time, we're now going to play a non-limit game, so it's no limit hold'em.
Okay, we're going to play 4,000 ante and 816 for the blinds.
So the blinds at 8,000, 16,000. This is no limit hold'em for 7 hands. I don't need to really explain this, you should all know this.
4, 8, 16 buttons there. All in.
So Ben's all in. Under the gun. About 140. Ross has asked for the count from the small blind and makes the call. Decision on Gabba in the big blind. So there's still action to come here, because he's having a think about it. Folds, so it's ace 10 for Ross, and it's pocket 8s for Ben. It's the 8s that are at risk. Ben needs to avoid an ace or a 10 to start with. That doesn't help him either, because it's 9 queen king, so he's got a few more to dodge there now as well. Another 9 means he now could be counterfeit as well. He needs to avoid a 9, a king, a queen, a 10, an ace, or a jack.
Anything that is bigger.
Yeah. And a 7 is good enough. I mean, it's what you asked for. Yeah. So Ben asked for a 7, and down comes the 7. So if he'd known calling in Rivers was on the CV, then. So Ben gets a double up for all you Ben fans out there, all 2 of you. We can hear them cheering from here, can't we? Yeah. To be fair, he did say about 10, 15 minutes ago, he said, I'm just holding out for No Limit Hold'em. First hand in. Gets his double up. Hashtag skill game. Yeah. On we go then. So, gathering the small blind, Ben in the big this time, which means we res to act first. Blinds at 8,000, 16,000. Call from the small blind, and it's a check from Ben in the big blind. So blind on blind, we'll see a flop. And it's 8, Queen, 5, rainbow. And Gabba bets out, and Ben very quickly folds. Doesn't want to put any more of his newfound chips at risk. Stack-wise, Ross is our chip leader in seat 2, and Stephen's currently our shorter stack in seat 1. And as I say that, he says I'm all in under the gun for about 242, 222 maybe. So it's a raise from Ben. And a re-raise from Resun. So Resun's raised it up to 70,000. Decision back on Ben, and he's going to fold. So raise from Ben to 32,000, been called by Rezuin on the button, and Stephen's gone all in from the small blind. And Ben's going to fold. Decision on Rezuin. He's asked for a count. $242. $242. And he makes a call. So Stephen's got ace queen and it's pocket fours for Resume. It's the ace queen that is at risk here. And 6-3-4 is the deuce or a 5 is going to help him out, but a jack on the turn is not, and that's going to be it. We're going to lose Stephen in 5th place. He's taking home £360 for his trouble, shaking everybody's hands there. And Resun adds to his stack.
Would you like to move a little bit further?
If you want to stay where you prefer to stay where you sit, feel free if you want to use
Actually, I will move here.
If you want to use the table just to give yourself more space and just so you can see each other's
I see better your stud cards if I sit here. I literally can see from there. This is why I'm always climbing. So.
And Reswin's playing about a mil as well, which would be, yep, that would roughly be about right, of the 3.15 million chips in play. So 9 minutes left on this level, level 25 that we're playing, and then players will have a 15-minute break. Whilst we also will just chip up and tidy up some of the chips on the table. So very quiet in this this room now. Hall 5 to date. Started the day with all 30 tables in here full of Goliath players. They've all gone. Clearly not very good players, any of them. All rubbish. They've all broken down now into the main hall, playing out for the end of the day there. Final day of Goliath day ones. Seeing who it will be bagging up and joining the other 600 or so players that have already made it through to day 2 tomorrow. And we're left with 4 players in the corner of the hall, playing out for the 8-game championship title. And £1,605 up top. Don't forget, if you want to play our main event tomorrow, starts at 4 o'clock. We've got 140 seats that are going to go on sale at the venue tomorrow at midday. Trust me, it is going to sell out. As players exit the day 2 of the Goliath, they are going to jump into our event. If you want to play it and you're not playing the Goliath tomorrow, please get down here for midday and guarantee your seat. Yes, if you come down anywhere near the start time of 4 o'clock, I don't think you're going to get in. I think you'll get on an alternate list, but you may not even make it in after that, because that will be capped at after 4 levels. We'll cut off the alternate list, and then you'll have up to level 8 to be able to take a seat after that. Tough. So if you really want to play the APAT event tomorrow, and you're not playing Goliath Day 2, get down by midday and get yourself a seat.
That's correct. I miscounted. Yeah, that's correct. That's a good bet. Yeah. My bad. Don't break my heart like that. Cool.
And don't forget, if you're not playing or can't get into the APAC, and there's still some other Goliath side events you can get into if you fancy the High Roller tomorrow. £330 buy-in, 2-day event. You can play that tomorrow. Or on Sunday, we're running a Pot Limit Omaha event, Sunday afternoon. And then the final event of the week is Deep and Steep. £30 buy-in. I'm assuming it sounds very lots of chips, but quite quick structure. I've no idea, but I've just got this feeling if it's the last event starting on a Sunday, I'm kind of getting the feeling it's going to be, yeah, it'll be fun. plenty of chips to start with, but you're going to have a fairly quick structure on it because they'll have to get that obviously finished by the end of the day. But well worth doing. Come down, watch all the final tables. Watch the Goliath final table. The feature table in the main room is pretty impressive. Kind of a bit like a boxing ring in the middle of the room. So Ben's all in with 6, 9, 8 deuce with 2 hearts, and is up against a pair of aces. Unfortunately, we've got the hearts covered as well. So, but he's hit a 5-7 jack, 2 hearts. But he's got some straight opportunities. Here comes the turn, and he's got there. Needs to avoid a heart. And he does, and Ben gets a double up, playing pot limit Omaha. Round of applause from his rail.
Guys, this guy here taught me PLO.
So hits his straight on the turn, and then avoids Ross's flush draw on the river, and gets his double up. These really very much are Ben's 2 variants. It's quite clear. No limit Hold'em and pot limit Omaha. And he goes again. Ross just gives a little shake of the head in like, how? How did that happen?
How long before the break, please? 1.5 minutes.
1.5 minutes till break. The guys will get a 15-minute break then. We'll keep the stream running. But we will switch the mics off for 15 minutes, which will probably please everybody at home. So raise from Brisbane under the gun, gets a call from Ben in the big blind, and it's come down 9 king 10. Both check, and another 10 on the turn, and it goes check again, and it's a queen on the river, and it goes check, and the Jack 9 is Ace Jack even, sorry. Yeah. It's good enough. That's going to be a break, so players going to take 15 minutes. And they'll be called back. We're going to take a break as well. Leave the stream on for you. Be back in 15.
Sure, because I think we just finished 25 or 26? 'Cause 26. Yeah, I know.
16,
That's why I thought since, I don't know what happened with the clock, but I thought we were going this level.
Yeah.
And then she prays after the 26th.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, probably. I should finish this tournament right now. There for like 3 hours.
Tell me about it. I just came off a 6-7.
Well, your man is going to win. I know you're going to win. Oh, what's your name? What's your name?
They lost.
Reg. What are you on? What's your name?
Right.
Join that. Fuck
This
off.
is the journey.
Fuck off. Yeah, you do. Oi, Reg,
They're sending people home.
You already has.
So we colouring it? Yeah, I guess.
Or
Just taking up like, yeah. So we're just colouring. We're not chip
How long
racing.
is the break last? 15, yeah? Cool, too. Okay, cool.
About 42. Okay. Do we have other trays or? tuned for no limit and pot limit. Next level.
Super.
We're starting level 26 when we come back. Looking good.
Do you concur?
I do indeed concur.
Do you want to take off the bulk of the thousands? If it's only for 816
Yeah, PLO. I mean,
for the hold'em, is it? Or
yeah,
and the PLO?
like the bring-ins and the antes are all rounded up already.
Okay.
So it is literally just for PLO and holding.
Great news though. I'll play the APAC tomorrow.
5k, 8k, 16
Yeah,
in no limit, is it?
yes, they're gone. My team's through. My
5k,
team's
80
through.
and 8k, 16.
No, I
Super.
yeah, I did have chance. Yeah, yeah, and then
Maybe
and
just
then,
like get more up there. Like, you know,
And then I went,
I didn't care.
That's 500k.
I didn't care. Yeah, no, they were
Did you
a
play
large
the?
number of small chips,
Were you dealing
small
when it was
denomination chips. Yeah, I lost a chunk with tens on them.
a level of 3.5 and then a level of 3.6?
But yes, that one was quite nasty, and then I ended up jamming with top
Yeah,
ten.
we had a 3.5 level and we had a 3.6 level.
That's right, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we've had a couple of them.
And
We've had
8 and 16 with a 5k.
yeah. So 3.5 equivalent was 13, 20,000.
Yeah, yeah, because the 5 after the 5 wins.
yeah, that'd be great.
Yeah, I see it now and
Right, okay.
I think that's as much as you can take, isn't it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, versus the tournament today,
Well, that is true. Yeah.
I'll probably
What game did you stop on?
to
Do you know?
be honest, I was planning on being here.
You
I've
never
got a
said.
green card to leave the house at 11. For that one, so I might come play cash for 4 hours before that.
Guys,
We were
what
on
game did they stop on?
PLO. PLO.
Perfect.
Yeah.
It's like a. It's like a.
The longest wait for Holden
Yeah,
until
he's
people
got
can start
4
going on
cards
again.
and there's a plot.
Yeah, true. But it's bizarre. Like every table I went to yesterday, like it was like you finish the whole you finish the PLO and the triple draw, and you go to the next table. You do the Texas Hold'em, the PLO, the triple draw. You go to the next table and you're doing the same one. So some like we're doing
I guess the
the
last
stud, and
level.
then other dealers are just doing the.
Last.
Alright, cool. I'll go drop
5
these
minutes
off.
It's all
after.
good.
I think
Try and
Simon
sort the computer out.
will
They're back in quarter
I think
two.
Will, he
yeah,
was.
obviously Jeff's through with chance for day two.
Yeah, no, I think Will was out. Like, he wasn't still there.
But and
No, I think he's
how many of
easily
those
done.
broken as well?
I think he's easily done double figures now.
They all want to fucking protest me with every break. It's like you can't get more than 10 yards before. Yeah. Lucy loves it.
Who
The
do I
Kasuf
love?
effect.
The Kasuf, I was going to
Yeah.
say. I got on my car yesterday and checked the registration plate of the car around me. Do you know, like when you get your surroundings and it was WILLK, you know, you're like.
See, Byron took a photo of himself, like pretending to piss all over it.
Lee had said that.
Really wish that was actually a thing.
Keep going.
No, well,
Don't stop.
they announced
Said
Will
all they
to
said was they were doing a magic trick, and we probably said a little bit too loudly. Here, okay, I hope they're getting him to catch a bullet in his mouth.
Oh wow! I was thinking, can you make him disappear? But no, you want him to be shot in the face.
It was the way they did the build them. Like, we've got a special guest, and then they were like, oh, it's Will Cthulhu. And I went, oh. And loads of people looked round. And then he went, oh, I wonder if they're going to. And it was just like total perfect timing. Everyone heard. Like, we did not land that correctly.
Okay, players,
At all.
if you look up on the screen, we have confirmed our prizes.
I can confirm everyone
That
heard.
wasn't 50 minutes, you are.
I can confirm everybody heard.
1,600.
I was sat right there and I
Gotta be
just
honest,
looked
that's
around.
Yeah, it's like.
You know when you forget
I was
where
hoping
you're
for a bit
at, and
more.
you're just like, oh, really?
It is. It's not like
Over
it's
600
like
to get that.
Yes.
the other side were like,
Did he really just say
"Yay," and
that
this
story
side
last
was
night?
like,
Oh, man.
Private
I've got nothing against the guy, but you're really sick of hearing
It's like,
someone
yeah,
say
first
that.
there's
It's
like
a
less
song
than
too
all
often,
the
you're
other
like, oh,
prizes.
not again.
That's what he'll do.
Oh,
Like,
God.
it is, yeah, yeah.
Great shot.
Bless
Yeah.
him. But yeah,
Yeah,
we just totally
Which, to be honest, I'd take.
let go.
Yeah. I think it now. It's like, yeah. Guys, we'll just do 600 weight job. I was thinking that Dundee.
So I'm now Uber Coventry for this one. So
He open.
oh yeah. No. Of course it isn't. For a start, it's in Coventry. Oh, go on. This is in Kearney, yeah?
Sorry, something on my throat. I had a water here.
Already a piss take.
Can I have your attention, please, all late game players? Can you please retake your seats? That's all players in today's 8th game to retake your seats.
I retook my seat.
Well done,
You
you.
did.
You get 25k off everyone's stack to say well done for being a good boy.
You took it well as well. Nailed the landing.
Anybody in any way? Are you in any way interested in a deal or too early? Hmm?
No, that's fine.
300, maybe. Heads up. I mean, he would get the best bit out of it. Just asking.
So that could have gone worse.
Well, we both said I was so tired at that point, and so was he, that we probably would have just gone, just if you're quiet, you can lay down. I mean, don't disturb me.
I'll sleep on the toilet.
And I was so tired that I've just been like, Lee, if you're quiet, I don't care, can I go back to sleep?
What is it? The first time I've slept on a toilet?
Right.
All right. Yeah. Main event. Is it worth doing that PLO as well, or do we cross that bridge when we come to it? All right. Before we hear from the announcements, they are not done messing around with the computer now with the live prizes. So just stay on the manual. As soon as I can, I'm going to sort the clock out for you. And use it. For now, we are just starting level 26. The game is still
Yellow.
PLO.
So 8,000, 16,000.
That was the last level, no? Same.
1020 enough left.
Nope. What are we, 26 or 27? Sorry.
Were we 26 just now?
We were 816 on the last level.
Yeah, but there was an 816 and
Yeah.
25. We're going 26.
Oh, it's the same?
26 is 816.
Oh, it's possible that it's the same. It does happen, but
Yeah. You were doing
816.
See, this was 25.
Yeah, it's 8-16.
Yeah, we've done 4 8-16, so it must be 5.
It's 5-8-16, but there's no ante at this point. Yep, that's
No
fine.
ante in PLO.
Just
though.
checking.
It's in the no limit.
Just checking, it's alright.
It's no limit is the ante.
The only difference between this level and the next level is
What's that?
no limit and PLO level.
So 8,000, 16,000 guys. And we'll get it underway.
Right then, so back we are. 4 players left. We've just chipped up a load of chips off the table. Doesn't affect who our chip leader is. It's close though between Ross in seat 2 and Reswin in seat 7. Not much between them. Ross had about 1.1 million. Res had about just shy of 1 million. And then Gabor had about 700,000, and he said 6. I think it's a little bit more than 6. And Ben has the remainder, which is about 250, 260 maybe ish.
If you like.
So, it's the last hand of Pot Limit Omaha. Bless you, Lucy. So the way 8-game works is they play 7 hands of each variant. Doesn't matter how many players are on the table, you still play the 7 hands. Even if we get right down to the heads up, same thing works. Still play your 7 hands. So raise to 32,000 from Ben, gets called by Reswin in the small blind. Ross gets out the way in the big blind, and the flop comes down 3-7-6. Check from Res, and 25,000 is the bet from Ben. And it's a raise from Res, and it's effectively Ben says pot, which is actually an all-in for him. And he's asking for a count, which will get done very quickly. $226. And he makes a call. So Ben, I think I saw a 4 and a 5. I did. So Ben's flopped the straight, and there's an 8 and a 9 and a flush draw. So there's hearts flush draw and an up and down straight draw for the better straight for Res. So we're going to see a turn. And it's a 6, so needs to avoid a 6 or an 8 as well now. So we're going to see the river. And it's a jack on the river, which means Ben is going to get a double up. With what eventually was just a flop straight. That was enough. Dodged all the outs that Reswin had. And that very much puts our short stack Ben back in the game.
Yeah, what are the blinds?
2-7 triple draw, 25,000, 50,000.
Wow, that's a lot. Deuce to 7.
Deuce to 7.
Your friend.
So we've gone once through the variants in this final table. So we're back to the beginning. And it's deuce 7 triple draw.
see another card? Yeah, you got it. 5 cards. Oh,
So all players get dealt 5 cards.
raise. 2 bets.
Blinds are 25. Blinds are 25.50, and it's a raise to 100 from Reswin from the button. That's being called by Ross in the small blind. And Gabba folds. So it's going to be 2 players, and Ross is standing, so not drawing any cards, and Reswin takes 2. And Ross bets 50,000. And Reswin folds.
Big blind, please. I did. 50,000. Yeah. Oh. 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 Walkerton.
Sorry. No, I'm putting it with 2 shots.
Raise. 2 bets. Three bets. Go.
So Ross is drawing 2. Gabble just the 1.
Check.
Check from Ross. And Gabble bets 50,000.
Call.
And it's a call.
Second draw.
And 2 again from Ross. And 1 again from Gabble.
Check.
And they both check this time.
Final round.
And it's 1 each this time for the 3rd draw.
Check.
Check from Ross again. And check from Gabble.
9 low.
And it's a 9 low.
9 8 5 2.
You're calling if I bet.
And the 9 low takes it.
That's expensive, but nothing I can do. Or at least I don't think I can do anything.
Two bets.
So raise from Ben this time on the button to 100,000. Call by Resu. Resu in the small blind.
Okay, first draw. Two cards and stand.
And Ross folds in the big blind.
Better now. Check. 50.
Check from Resuin, and Ben bets out.
Cool.
And it's a check called
Second
by
draw.
Resuin.
Two cards. Stand.
He takes 2. Ben stands. Doesn't draw any. Check from Resuin.
Check, yeah. Bet.
And Ben bets 100,000.
Cool.
And Resuin makes the call.
Final round. Yep. Check. Bet.
And Ben fires again.
Cool.
And
9-8.
Resuin shows 9 low.
5-4.
And looks like Ben standing a few times there was bluffing that he had the best hand.
Cool. Two bets. Draw. First round. Draw. 1, 2. Check. 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 Second round.
Almost discarded the wrong card.
Check, check. Check. Final. Final draw. Stand. 1-1. 7 will. Three bets. Right. Oh. Cool. First draw. 2 and 2. Check. Bet. That is all in. Let's go. Stand.
So Ben's all in, has drawn 2. Roswin is standing, so not drawing any.
Final draw.
And Ben draws another 1. Roswin's still standing. And they both got a 9. 96542 for Ben. 97642 for Roswin. And Ben gets a double up.
Again.
I wouldn't necessarily say again. You know, so that's a bit harsh, isn't it, really? But what you've got to say is he's got his double up on different variants. So, you know, yeah. If anything, he is an all-rounder. Yeah.
The last hand of triple draw.
Oh, right, okay. I had no idea what you were talking about last week. Okay, that took a lot longer than it was.
So last hand of Deuce 7 triple draw, which disappoints me slightly because I've quite enjoyed this game. Yeah, it's the 14th hand we've had of it on the feature table. And I'm pretty sure if we put a poll up, it would be the fans' favourite. Definitely.
On to limit hold'em now.
So on we go. Limit hold'em. Hold'em. That's limit.
25.50.
Blinds are now 25,000, 50,000, I think. Yeah, they are. I'm getting a nod from our efficient dealer. How goes it, Lucy, on the blogging area?
Yeah, it's alright.
Lovely. There we go. Thanks for that.
Oh.
So a raise from Resin on the button makes it 100,000. Ross folds from the small blind, and I personally don't understand why Gab's not playing deuce 4. I mean, okay, all right, it wasn't suited. I mean, to be fair, I suppose I'll give you that, but no, it's not what you want when you get a raise from the button and you look in a big blind. The first is a deuce and the second is a 4. Yeah, not great.
Big blind, please.
So round we go again. As I was saying earlier, even though we're 4-handed now, the guys still play 7 hands of each variant and work their way down the list of 8. And for those who have been watching this final table from the start, we're on our second lot of variants now. I'm just watching Phil the Tower strutting, literally strutting across the hall. It's impressive. It's impressive. How are we doing, Mr. Tower, sir? How are you?
How's this still going on?
Give the man a microphone. I'm not going to get back off him now.
Not a chance. What time did you start?
This started at 8 o'clock. So we're currently playing Limit Hold'em. You've turned up at a good time. You've turned up at a good time.
Fold.
You just missed deuce 7 triple draw.
What? And quickly run me through the rules.
So you get dealt 5 cards.
Yep.
And you're looking to make the best low hand out of those. Yeah. And you get 3 chances to draw, where you can basically you can hand discard cards, and they will deal you more cards with rounds of betting, obviously as well.
Are these all A-Pat regulars?
No, they're not actually.
So they've all been done, have they? The A-Pats have gone.
Yeah. But
By
what
the
I will
regs.
say, these guys, they certainly know how to play. Chap here has played an 8-game at an EPT.
Really?
Yeah. The guy Ben over in the corner there. Ben's got a bit of a following at home.
Ben.
Yeah, he's got a bit of a following at home. He's an expert on doubling up at multiple variants.
That's the way you've got to play.
Yeah. He doesn't just shove it in with pot limit Omaha or no limit. No, he got to double up with deuce 7 triple draw. I mean, that's a skill game, isn't it?
Absolutely. Yeah. Let me tell you. Is he the best player in his house?
I don't know. His mate will tell me that. Is he the best player in his house?
Yeah, in his house.
Yeah. Does he live on his own?
He lives on his own, yeah. He lives on his own, yeah. Amazing. I didn't realise it was you. You've been put in a corner.
Yeah.
You had to wait till there was space.
We will. This Goliath thing. I mean, Phil, what's that all about? Tell me. Yeah.
1,557 runners today. 6,385 in total.
You've got a long day tomorrow.
1,000 runners coming back.
I think you've got a long day come Sunday.
1,000 runners for day 2.
Is it? It is 1,000. Is it really?
Right. Between 950 and 1,000.
Yeah. So you've had quite a lot today then. A lot of people have clung on today more than they thought probably would. Yeah. In the final day 1.
I think last year when they came back, I think the end of there's only like 120 more runners today than there were last year. But considering it was already sold out, that means there's been 120 more alternates than last year, because it was capped at 90 last year. 900 started today with 900, and there's been 620 odd alternates rather than unbelievable.
What a week!
So first prize has just been announced.
I didn't hear how much it was. Do you want to let us know?
Yeah, it's £25.
That's not bad.
No.
And what, do they get their bus fare home as well?
Yeah, they get a comedy check.
Oh,
they get a comedy check that says £85,500 on it.
What's with the 500?
They didn't round it down, they didn't round it up, it was perfect.
Yeah. Well, it is what it is.
£85,000 first prize.
For a £120 buy-in. Now, where? Tell me where you can go and play something
There's
like
not
that.
many places in Britain where that will ever happen. Ever. We are thinking Team Grosvenor might be coming to Dublin
I say.
We are in negotiations as we speak.
Excellent.
We will definitely have a team for Blackpool in February.
I love it.
So Dublin's we'll talk off.
Off,
We'll
yeah.
talk off air about
Contracts and riders
about
and,
expenses and fines and stuff like that.
I mean, yeah, your rider is not easy.
We are
your rider's not easy to get hold of these days, Phil. Let alone the cost of it.
That is true. But we are contemplating Dublin.
Dublin's a great weekend. I mean, it's a great city anyway, whether you're playing poker or not playing poker. But they love their poker over there. It's absolutely superb.
Yeah. Well, last 2 minutes have been caught. I'm still working, by the way.
Well, do you ever not work?
It's a 2:15's finished this morning.
I mean, you assume you just be doing the usual kind of sleeping vertically and just when you can and just
Yeah, we walk back to the bedroom with his eyes closed, and before we get to the door, we're asleep.
Love it.
Well done, Pat.
Thank you very much.
Carry on.
We're here for the next 2 days. With, alongside, well, they're going to squeeze us in. I think the Goliath Day 2 will start emptying quite quickly, and we'll be filling it. Basically.
If you want to go into the high roller, it's already full. Alternate's been taken.
Already for the high roller.
Alternate number one.
What was the cap?
Alternate number one is Wilkesoof.
Yeah. How many do they cap that at?
150.
And what time does that start?
7 p.m.
Right. Okay.
But if you want to play cash tonight, you can choose one of 39 tables.
It's Friday night in Coventry for you.
Happens every week, apparently.
Yeah, well, exactly. Lovely. Thanks, Phil. I'll leave you to finish off, wrap up the end of the day there at the Goliath. Great stuff. So, high rollers already full. Wow. It's going to be a very busy weekend here in Coventry. I think some of the cash games pretty much just go on throughout the night, so you can non-stop playing those. So, who wants to sleep when there's poker tables open, eh?
But that doesn't mean I can't play.
I know you can play all of them, that's no question.
Too bad. Check.
So on a flop of Queen King 4, it's a bet from Ross, 50,000, and it's been called by Razwin. We're going to see a turn, and it's the ace of clubs on the turn. Check from Rez again, and
Bet. Go. Check. Check. 737. Tens for the high.
Straight for high.
Straight. That's straight.
so Rez got straight for the high, and Ross has the low. So we chop it up.
He gets the high. He gets the high. He got the high.
So the high hand gets the odd chip. Level 27 now, just started.
Maybe this hand, this, level 27.
Next up, this one. This on level 27. 25.
Everything's the same except the
Yeah, okay.
PLO and the no limit holder.
Sound is so scary. I mean, it's not of gravitas.
You might just make it with a no limit holder this level.
Too bad. Might do. Cool.
So Ben's made it 100.
Check.
And on a board of 10-4 Jack, Ross checks and Ben bets 50 and Ross makes the call. So they both see the 5 of clubs.
About 100.
And Ben says I bet 100. And he's got about 10k behind. And Ross is raised, Ben says them all in. So it's Ben at risk here. And it's pair of sevens and up and down straight draw for Ross. There's no low out there at the moment.
You are guaranteed them.
So let's see the river card and we'll work this out.
Now that was the only card you could lose the whole lot.
9.
That was the only card.
9 is as
It was the only
Gabba
card.
says, 9's the only card that you could lose the whole lot with because there's no low there at all, which means hits us straight, and we're going to lose Ben in 4th place. Ben picks up a cool £490 for his trouble, which means we're three-handed now, and these three guys are all guaranteed £710 for 3rd place finish. 1,070 for 2nd and 1,605 up top. As was said at the beginning of this is an APAT side event, so therefore we do allow deals in our side events.
Obviously you would get more, but not now. Okay. All good.
So three-handed. On we go.
I would raise. You don't want him carrying 490 around when he's very nice. 100.
Cool.
Good luck, guys.
Check.
So on a board of 9, 4, 8, 7, it's Ross and Gabble going at it. Gabble bets and Ross folds.
That hit me in the face. did check.
Check. Check. Check.
Duper and the low.
Straight for that high. You got the low?
3 and 6.
3 low. Yeah. I'll do it. Race.
Still not folding to me. I fold. I have the nut flush. Yeah. I was absolutely astonished.
Hey guys, one, two. Raz.
Auntie?
Oh, yeah, okay. 10,000 anti, 15,000.
This will be absolutely massive.
Not worried, you got all the chips.
Bring in 15.
That is
Complete is 50. Call. D7. D6 is best.
So, three-handed. Let's have a look at the chip counts.
Yes, let's just let you know, day 2 tomorrow will restart at midday, 12 o'clock.
Complete.
If you are late, your chips will go into play. They restart at 12 o'clock.
Check. Check. 90. Check.
I don't know. We're at the 8 game. We were just trying to think of a place to keep where we're at.
If you could call with the queen, you are not holding anything that I got answer.
So I think Ross is playing about 1.8 million now, I think. Pretty much. About 1.8. You reckon 2? You reckon it's closer to 2. Of the 3.1 million chips in play, Gabble's got 3, 4, 6. Yeah, about 6. You got about 6, 650 as well. Yeah. See, I'm more comfortable with about 1.8 there. I reckon. Yeah. Maybe 1. I tell. We'll divvy it up at 1. We'll call it 1.9, shall we? Yeah, we'll call it 1.9. We'll split the difference, me and the dealer. Well, that sounds good to me. Yeah. So it's So roughly, Ross has got 1.9 million, and the other two have about 600k each, roughly, which is about the 3.1 million in play. Oh, come on, he must.
I will start calling for cards like him.
You're right, Coventry's like a cocky shithole in the middle of nowhere, doesn't have anything.
Ross, made day 2.
Well done.
So we've got 3 more to go.
Let me have a look.
So So Ross is showing 356 and bets 100,000. Rez is showing Queen 7-8 and makes the call.
Before we went to uni. Right? No, no. Oh, you know him from underneath the hood?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Sweet, okay.
We didn't know who he did.
Oh, I should have told you a different name now. It's like, oh yeah, it's totally not him.
Ross, I don't want him to win anymore.
Yeah. Go Razan.
Go Razan.
Oh, you guys.
We didn't know if it was you, so
Oh, I was supposed to say.
because under the hood we didn't recognise him.
Rizwan makes the call. So they both get their last card face down. So Ross is showing 3, 5, 6, 10, and Rizwan is showing Queen 7, 8, 10. Ross fires out another 100,000, and Rizwan folds. That's very much adds chips to our chip leader. It's starting to look like it's only going to be one-way traffic. So last hand before we change the variant. So Rizwan's showing the 9, so he's bringing in 5 for Ross, so he bets 50,000. Gabba goes out the way, as does Rizwan, and Ross will take that one down. Nice and easy. And we move on to 7-card stud for 7 hands. So 10,000 ante.
No.
4 clubs. Complete 50.
So bringing from Gabba, Rizwan makes a bet and everybody else folds.
Chip leader doesn't.
Hang on. Complete 50.
I said this earlier, Ross is definitely one of the.
Complete. Fold.
So Ross brings in with a 4, and it gets completed by Gabba with the ace, and Ross makes the call. So Ace Jack is first to act with Gabba bets 50,000 and gets quickly called by Ross with 7-4. So with Ace Jack 9 being shown by Gabor, he bets out 100,000, and Ross is showing Jack 7-4 and makes the call. Queen for Gabor.
Oh, sorry. Check.
And he checks. And Ross checks with the 8 that he's got. And final check from Gabor and check. And Ross has got 2 pair, and 2 pair is going to beat the 10s of Gabor. And there's another decent pot for Ross.
No, I'm probably leaving today.
Start today 7-4. Fair enough. Good hand. Frustrating for me. Open under higher pairs.
So Ross is playing about now 2.4 million of the 3.1 million in play. And the other guys have got about 300k each. Both lost pretty much half the stacks playing hands of Ross in limit games. Just goes to show you don't have to wait for the pot limit Omaha or no limit Hold'em to get your stack in.
Same as you?
No, the 270, 380.
You wanna even out second and third? You wanna even out second and third?
It depends. I don't know the price difference anyway.
I can tell you if you want to know.
Yes, please.
710 for second, third, 1070 for second, and then 1605.
Complete.
Sorry, I didn't get that.
Can you stop the clock or
710,
yeah.
1070, and then 1600.
Is there a way to stop the clock for a second?
No.
Yeah, we can pause the clock.
No, it's not going to make any difference anyway.
Can make them closer. He's not giving up the first prize, that's for sure. You're not giving a single chance of that. I can understand you. I wouldn't, in your place.
Brilliant. Complete.
All players would like to discuss a deal.
No.
No, that's thank you.
This will be our last round of stud.
Final hand of stud. So,
5 of diamonds. Yep.
Gabba's 5 is going to bring in. And it's going to get completed by Ross with a king of diamonds.
Yeah, we're on to stud high low.
What did you say? What did you have?
280.
280?
Five of clubs. Complete. Cool. Right. Two bets. Go. Ace 10 is best. Check. Check. Right. Two bets.
So, Gabba's showing ace 7 here.
I'm showing ace 4.
Ace 4 even, yeah. It's getting late. And king 5 for Rez. And ace 10 for Ross. All 3 still in the hand.
New game. Stud high low.
How much?
Probably another 80, 90.
So stud high low, and after a bet from Gabble, it's been raised by Rez.
Cool.
And Gabble makes the call. It's a queen for Resin, but the ace is still a high card for Gabble to act first. He checks. He's effectively all in, and Gabble's going to make the call. Gabble shows he's got 7-6 there as well. I've got John Murray with me on. He'll be able to talk me through who's got what here. John, Nick, go over here. Come on, help me out here, John.
What's the name? Gabber. Gabber's got a low draw. Yeah. He's got a pair of 6s on the low draw. And what's the other guy?
Resin.
Resin has got 3 low cards and king queen, so doesn't have any pair at the moment. 10 for Gabor and the 9 doesn't change anything. Gabor is in good shape here. Unless he's made his low, and so he's got at least half and 7. He's got his scoop. Yeah, pair of 6s and a low.
Yeah, we're going to lose Rezuin in third place, sorry, and we're going to be heads up. And just as I said, it really probably needed one of the 2 of them to knock the other one out, so they could actually have a fighting chance against our chip leader. So Resin finishes in 3rd place, pocketing 710 stud high low. Yeah. Pocketing £710. Very well done to him. Fantastic effort. So we are heads up.
Yeah, it's just that they're all like
see it safe. We'll see how it pans out. It's still going for a chunk of time, and we'll.
Yeah, it's 75,000.
I'll make sure the clock does get stopped, so you visibility to phase 5. Yeah.
He has a chance now. That's like he's got a chance.
It's about 2.4 against 7, isn't it? Roughly.
Yeah, that's only 3 to 1 then.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying.
Or 3 and a bit to 1.
It needed one of them
Yeah,
to
yeah.
not one of them's not the other out now. If they'd carried on whittling down the chips, then it wouldn't have been too late. One
Could be a totally different game. You could have a totally different approach heads up than 300. Please keep better.
Our heads up players are just taking a quick 2-minute break, and then we'll be back to recommence. We'll find out who is going to finish first, picking up £1,605 for their efforts over the past 2 days.
It's a good job we got these chairs here to keep the spectators back.
Well, I didn't want you live. The crowd is wild back here.
I was going to keep behind here.
Don't
We're all keeping behind
Don't
the
you
chairs.
mock Richard's crowd management, all right? Yeah,
You see the chairs, or I just kick you out when I get annoyed with you. So I think the chairs is a good solution.
Well, I don't know. Not everybody would agree that that's the best solution. Some would say go for the kick out.
We can completely change the policy and we can start doing that if you like.
Let's not put it to a vote.
Let's ask the people at home. I think I'm going to kick myself out actually. I'd love to stay, but it's too crowded.
To be fair, you've got a stack of Goliaths tomorrow. Go get some sleep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm going.
No, a sensible early start tomorrow. Well, is it midday, isn't it?
It's midday, which is still not late, isn't it? I don't go to bed. Don't go to bed this early usually. Told you last night, didn't I?
Stop paying any attention.
It's bad. Britannia.
Oh, but not Britannia Lions.
Not the posh
8?
one.
8. 8.5. Yeah.
It's crap.
Yeah. 8.
I don't think it was out the weekend. I hadn't
8.20.
realised the
8.30. Somewhere.
one in town isn't so bad.
Sorry, we made a bit of a deal.
Okay.
So, sorry, your name was?
Ross.
Ross is guaranteed 1,400. I am guaranteed 1,200, and we are playing for the difference. If it's all right. 14, 12 guaranteed as we stand, and whatever is still left is. No, there's a 175 or so.
14 and 12. 14 and 12.
No, it's 75.
just 75,
That
yeah.
leaves 75
Too
pounds.
little? Or you are all right?
I don't mind it.
14 and 12, you happy?
We've got a
14.
first and second.
Oh yeah, we're gonna play it out.
You don't need to play it out.
Yeah.
We can, as long as there's a first and second, it doesn't actually have to play out. As long as
We can
we've got a
also.
first and second, and it's an official first and second, that's fine.
We can finish here if I get 12.50.
Play for the 75, but
12, 15, 14, 25, okay.
And we finish here. And you're first.
12.25.
Oh.
Yeah. Cool.
Okay.
You're such a message leader.
14.50. Congratulations.
So the guys have just had a quick chat and decided to do a deal on the money with Ross taking first place and Gabor taking second. Very well done to them both. So I hope you've enjoyed the stream. That's us done from Coventry tonight. We'll be back tomorrow for our main event, which we'll be streaming during the day. So stay tuned on the Facebook group and YouTube channel to catch up with all details. But for now, thanks very much from Coventry.
Hold on, Lucy.
He's got photos of both the guys already, so he's happy for you to just shoot off. He knows he's got photos he hasn't already used, so you'll get it'll look like a